Yeah, I mean, we can just rattle. We're gonna do, same.
Oh no, I know. It's just frustrating because you have to have an account.
Oh, another month for me.
Yeah, for you, but that doesn't do me any good. Okay.
I'm ready.
Just pulling up the YouTube channel. Good to go. Welcome in. Hope you had a fantastic, what is it, Thursday? These days are blending together now as we're getting ready for Thursday night football. Bowl season just about underway. You're probably fully inundated with the NBA, college basketball, maybe even sprinkling some NHL action, as I know Ben Rasa likes to do on the pitch, not necessarily on the ice. What's up, my friend?
What's going on? Yeah, we are treated. We've been, I don't know, I think for a little stretch here, we've been treated to some big time island games. Sorry, that Bills Patriots game. We had some other good ones. Rams, Cardinals, fantastic game. And now we get the Chiefs and the Chargers in a rematch that the Chiefs, I mean, I'm not going to say they have to have it, but I think if they want to lock up everything that they want, they have to have it because the Chargers won the first one. This is a big time matchup. Really excited to talk about it.
Yeah, man, me too. We're going to start right away with a big play, something to keep an eye on from as big of a really create this Venn diagram where it's a monster play, but it's also grounded in some reality, right? It's not just giving out a plus 10,000 play like somebody did maybe 6 months ago here. Let's look at, and I love it already, man. Bluefield's in the house. Shelton is in the house. Jared throwing out, Tyreek going for over 100 receiving yards. So hit that thumbs up button, please. Make sure you're subscribed. And this is the most interactive show we have where we ask you for your strong lock it up plays. You're going to get those from us as well. I also, because our buddy Berger is not here today, he sent me ahead of time his donkey parlay because he's now hit 2 straight, Ben Rasa.
We've been in a good groove. We were all on the Rams on Monday. The only thing that I'll complain about is I had a Rams halftime full-time ticket, and they allowed Kyler Murray to get down and get a cheap field goal at the buzzer to tie that game at halftime. But I still like it. I think we're in good shape here. And, yeah, let's get to it. Thursday Night Football hot takes. I don't have anything really crazy. I really don't. I think that, again, the Chiefs, this is a good game to look at alternative lines because there could be a lot of points. The Chiefs have been rolling through teams. They've obviously found a switch. I think society probably is on them, but I am too. I like the Chiefs in the spot. 3 points. I don't mind looking at, you can get minus 9.5 for the Chiefs at plus 220, like the over. To me, this is a Kansas City kind of cements that they're still the team to beat in the AFC.
I know you love, and I say that with as much sarcasm as I could constantly pour on it, trends leading up to why you would take a bet. But Austin Eckler, when you look at him at home, has been in the mix as far as, I think it's 4 of 5 home games. He has scored the first touchdown. So if you can get a prop, first off, first touchdown is plus 600. I love that. His anytime TD is only minus 135. I don't hate that by any means, but I think what you can do is definitely look at first touchdown for Austin Eckler at plus 600, but also try and find a prop. There are places that will get you a specific prop, Ben, where it's Austin Eckler first quarter touchdown. I think the play is anything in the first quarter, even if you wanted to build a quasi tower here with Eckler plus 600 as the first touchdown and Eckler at whatever you can get back, which is going to be somewhat better than minus 135, of course. Eckler first quarter touchdown. That's what I would look at first and foremost right away.
I didn't even know they had that, so that's pretty wild.
Some places will offer a custom like that where you can go into specific custom bets that are created for you in these games. And that's what I'm saying, like first quarter touchdown for Eckler and maybe like 35 receiving or rushing yards, something easy that he can get, but also they tag on the first quarter TD.
I mean, I'll say if the Chargers score first, I'll probably just bet the Chiefs again. This is a game that's going to have a lot of ebbs and flows. Both teams can score. Kansas City's defense, though, has obviously flipped the switch. They've just been absolutely fantastic over the last month and a half. You know, they've given up 9, 9, 9, 14, and 7. Like, it's just been an absolutely fantastic effort after they had given up 29 points or more in every game to start the season for the first 5 weeks. They had been terrible. Right now, obviously, that's why they find themselves as favored in this game. I have no problem with going to Eckler and some of these. It looks like everyone's really going to play. You know, we were wondering what's up with Mike Williams. He's good to go. Eckler's going to be good to go. Keenan Allen is back off the COVID list. We obviously have to keep an eye on the COVID situation just like last week, but so far, so good from that front.
I love it. And I think looking at how we see this game, it's going to be, and we built one yesterday on the breakfast menu. So make sure you're paying attention to not just our live shows here on the Odds channel, but all of the on-demand, the videos that we're creating for you, educational to informative to just straight up plays. So we created a same game parlay within this. And I think our narrative and our look at how this game plays out hasn't really wavered over the past couple of days. It looks like we're both on more of a higher scoring game, leaning more towards the quarterbacks being the reason why the ball moves up and down the field, and less with Clyde Edwards-Helaire or even Austin Eckler on the ground.
Yeah, I mean, I think that both of these teams have obviously quarterbacks that can rack up a lot of points in a hurry. I think they're both comfortable doing that. The Chargers have been, not interested in stopping the run pretty much all year. They're allowing 4.7 yards per rushing attempt. I just don't think that Kansas City is built for a run-heavy attack. And I look at Clyde Edwards-Helaire, they have dominated the last 3 opponents. He's got 10, 14, and 12 carries. Like, there's really no situation where I see this guy getting 20, 25 carries like a Joe Mixon, like one of those workloads. It just doesn't seem to exist in this offense. And then you look at Kansas City's defense, obviously they're making tremendous strides, but they're starting from the bottom. I mean, they were so bad at the beginning. They're still allowing over 7 yards per pass attempt. That's in the bottom third of the league. They have been better, but against the Chargers, I still think there's a lot of opportunities for them to put up points.
Yeah, man, I'm with you here. And this is a game where we also can't ignore how difficult it is to beat any good team in the NFL 2 times in a year. And this Chiefs team is just different than the one that lost earlier in the year to the Chargers. I think that's fair as well. So I wouldn't go back for anybody using that first game as any major gauge here. I would go and really apply what Ben just laid out, which is what you've seen from Kansas City more recent from their defense. And then also, look, those guys are still there. Patrick Mahomes is still there. Tyreek Hill, we had Jared right from the beginning saying he's going over 100 receiving yards, and you said you do like Tyreek tonight over that number. So Travis Kelce hasn't disappeared, even though from a DFS standpoint, I'm sure a lot of people feel that way. But these guys are still there, Ben.
Oh, absolutely. And, Tyreek is an extreme boom bust type option. The targets, just the way he plays, it all can very fluctuate, but it only takes one. And Chargers did a pretty good job in that week 3 game against him. He had 5 for 56 and a carry, but I expect more of a circa 10 target type game for him tonight. Don't mind going over there. And really, I mean, again, I think people like this. This is another over game for me. Most of the props outside of the running back rushing, I lean over because I think both quarterbacks are going to be very effective tonight.
I'm with you, man. And the biggest thing, and I can already see it, if he hasn't put it up there in the chat, I know Bloomfield is waiting for this first half underplay, but I know when to get ahead of something. At least I feel it in my gut today, right? All year, it's been first half under. If you like the over, I think as crazy as this is, and I just saw it at 25.5, I'm going to go over that number. I'm going to go over 25.5 first half. I think these two teams, especially because they know each other, they're in division. We're late in the year now where that you're just numb. It doesn't matter if you're playing on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Tuesday. Your body is numb at this point to it. It's not going to have as big of an impact, I think, ironically, as earlier in the year where we see these lower scores. I think if you're going over 52.5, which both are, over 25.5 would be the play in the first half for me. And I'm not even saying like if you like it, I'm saying I like it and I'm playing that where normally, Ben, I've been all over that first half. We have all been all over that first half under.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be flexible. That's one of the big leaks in people who only bet a certain way, like, oh, I only bet overs or I only bet underdogs. We have to react to the market. And I think this is a game the Chiefs have shown, I like the Chiefs team total over 27.5 tonight at -115. They're going to score. We saw last game, I actually had the over in the Raiders Chiefs game last week. And, when one team scores 9 points, you think you're going to rip the ticket up, but the Chiefs score 48 points. They're just doing all the heavy lifting for these overs right now. I think, more likely than not, they land in the 30s tonight. So Chiefs team total is towards the top of my card.
Yeah, 27.5 is what you have there, right?
Yeah, -115.
Yeah, that's not terrible here. I mean, and I saw something that I wanted to present to you on the chat because it's an interesting concept, but it does go in the face of one of the cardinal rules here that we do normally. But I wonder in a same game parlay if there's any flexibility. So Shelton hits us on the chat. And again, anything you have, lock it up, suggestion, a play, a question, anything you have that's interactive here for tonight or moving forward. I even saw the Hilltoppers getting some love on the chat for Saturday. But John Shelton, 7-point same game parlay teaser for tonight. So he's bumped the Chargers up through 7 and 10 at 10.5, which I absolutely love. But again, you and I think a lot of us know that it's not really advantageous to tease totals normally. But I ask if there's any change in the approach for the same game parlay because he's dropping that total down to 46.
No, you don't want to do that with over unders. You are bleeding value. I still think that's going to win because I like the over in the game. But in the long term, you want to try to avoid your teasers and your totals mixing together. It's just you're not getting enough for each point that you're moving.
I did see Pats, Cowboys, Packers, 7-point parlay teaser still in play. We'll get to this too before. Yes, that's mine, right?
Yeah. Still like it.
You also have the Eagles you can add to that as well now because that line has moved up to a teasable number. Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. Well, trust me, that might make it an appearance before we get out of here by all means. Chiefs -3, though. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I can't take the money line. I can't take the Chargers on a side. The biggest thing is it just doesn't compute that the Chiefs have been playing well enough to win, 5 in a row or so. And on top of that, you're going to tell me the Chargers are going to sweep the Chiefs this year? Doesn't make sense when I say that out loud.
Yeah, I just think that the Chiefs right now have shown they can win both ways, and that makes it really difficult. If Mahomes and the offense are at the top of their game, they're going to outscore you, and I think they're going to win the game. Their defense is playing as well right now where they're winning games by holding opponents to just, a pedestrian output. I don't think the Chargers have two ways to win. The Chargers have to outscore the Chiefs. I don't see any way that they outgun Mahomes and limit him. So to me, it's a good number at 3.5 or 4. I'd probably pass. But if you have Chiefs -3 on your screen, to me, that is worth wagering on.
All right, let's look at a couple of player props here. And as we've created on Wednesday, and again, check out what we have on the odds channel, the breakfast menu. Ben and myself did a 3-leg, right? Same game parlay. Do you have it in front of you? Because I know that Clyde Edwards-Helaire was a big part of it.
He certainly was. So we've been mixing and matching with same game parlays. I know a lot of people want to do it. And what we did, we went with the under on Clyde Edwards-Helaire rushing yards to start things. That is something that I feel very good about. It's the number one prop on OddsShopper right now, under 59.5 rushing yards. We also put in there, and this is where it got a little tricky, the over 9 receiving yards for him, because I do think there's a chance that he can catch that ball pretty well if they fall behind. He's obviously shown he's had 3 receptions in the past 2 games. Definitely a guy that can do that. And then we threw in Keenan Allen to score, and we got 5-1 on that. Keenan Allen, obviously a prevalent part of the Chargers attack. So a lot of ways you can go with this game. But to me, as I said at the beginning, besides the running backs, I think all these big-time players, you can look to score, to the overs. You can stack them up. Keenan Allen, Tyreek, Kelsey, all these guys could be in line for huge games tonight.
Yeah, the receiving yards is an interesting one with Clyde Edwards-Helaire because we have on OddsShopper a 65% X-win chance of, and again, this is a free tool. It's so easy to use. We have the parlay builder. Everything is there. You can shop odds as well. But CEH, right, Edwards-Helaire has an under 13.5 for an X win of 65%. He is projected at 14.6 because of the volatility that we see. But even that low end, I think we're covered when we took 9+ receiving yards and allowing a little bit of some wiggle room to where we really just need him to hit that lower end of Alex's projections at 14.6.
Yeah, I mean, the sliders allow you to do a lot of different things when you're building same game parlays. Obviously, if you're betting an individual prop, you have the line available from the books themselves. But again, I think it's all about finding the script, the game that you think is going to be played. To me, it's going to be a pass heavy game on both sides. I think the Chiefs are ultimately going to win the game. That's how I built. And then my props reacted accordingly. So pick that narrative, just like Showdown, as we talk about a lot on the DFS channel. Yep. Chiefs -3, though, started my build, and then it filtered to my player props.
So I see you answer that right with Kick, and it's great to see Kick in the house, by the way.
Yeah, off the big win.
Even early, absolutely. Wonder if a hedge bet of Hardman, Pringle, and Robinson would be profitable, individually betting on them to get a TD. Betting noob. Don't worry. There's never a bad question here on this show. I think a lot of people in a lot of places won't answer stuff because either A, they don't know, or B, they're afraid to let the audience they don't know, or C, they think it's beneath themselves or the audience. Ben is none of those, right? So we'll answer everything you have, new, old, whatever it may be. Is there any value for that?
I mean, like anything, there's always value given a certain line. If these guys had massive lines, sure, you could sprinkle. But the problem is the Chiefs just have so many bodies they can run out there. There's not just those guys. They've obviously got their stars, and then they've got a lot of other peripheral guys.
You would need one of those, really, right? If you're betting a unit each, hit one of those, you'd make a profit.
A small profit. So, but in reality, you're risking three units to most likely only win a unit or so if you go 1 and 3. Now, if 2 of them score, yeah, you'd be in business. The chances that 2 of those peripheral guys score tonight, I'd say, is very doubtful, though. And that's where you get into trouble. You're really not getting a ton of bang for your buck, even though you have 3 outs. You easily could go 0 for 3, and then it really is not too advantageous.
We both have the Chiefs to win.
Yes.
And I start to look at a couple of, I love this play here on, sorry, my son just threw up all over me. I love this, which shows you kind of how my Saturday went last week.
I mean, I've got chainsaws. I don't know if you can hear this. They are literally, lumberjacks have taken over my apartment complex. So the show is hitting some turbulence. Here we go.
Seriously. All right. So I love, and look, this is out there, right? This is totally out there. But I've pulled you over, I feel, to the dark side for both the same game parlay. And now I think this is like 3 straight days where I've heard you use the word narrative in a good sense. That's 2 things I never thought I would have or hear from Ben Rosso when we first started working together. The lose cast, right? You ever put some eyes on this thing on BetMGM, the lose cast? It's a player to score, but the opposite team to win. So you're getting a little value here when you combine, but also be aware that in some cases you may not get enough. For example, Austin Eckler Chiefs to win is +120. The likelihood of the Chiefs losing that, winning that game, yeah, but you're not getting a ton of a break right there. Mike Williams to score and the Chiefs to win is at +230, as is Keenan Allen at +250. We both like the Chiefs to win. We both like a high-scoring game. It doesn't have to be either of those 2, but do you think there's a way, like Jalen Guyton or Jared Cook, do you think there's a little bit of maybe a longer shot to play here? Donald Parham, the back second tight end, knowing that we're banking on the Chiefs money line here as the second part of it.
So it definitely helps in a high-scoring game, no doubt, because you can recover. Like if there's only a couple touchdowns, you're really setting yourself up for failure. I think Keenan Allen's probably the most interesting just because he's such a good player. He should be busy. I still don't like to do that just because you're almost like, okay, you need so many things to break right. I would rather just bet the Chiefs live if they go down or bet Keenan Allen to score on his own.
Yep. Okay. Makes sense. Right. And that's why you have so many things here. It's like a menu, right? You go to a diner and you get that 15-page menu. You can be overwhelmed. You may want to go for the turkey hoagie. You may want to go for the meatloaf. You may want to go for some cereal. You need somebody there to be like, no. Stay away from page 6 and make sure you focus on page 10. That's why I ask. Jalen Guyton right now, under 22 and a half receiving yards, is the best top non-Clyde Edwards-Helaire player prop that we have on the board, courtesy of the absolutely free and totally easy to use tool Odds Shopper. Under 22 and a half, it's got an X-win percentage of 67. And by the way, at minus 105, where we find the best return, that's an XROI of 20%, which isn't terrible.
Yeah, and there's actually under 25 and a halves out there. There's some extra value across the board. And I think the key here is all these guys are coming back. They're all going to be there. Eckler, Williams, Keenan Allen. Guyton still has a role, but you're looking at pedestrian targets. He hasn't had more than 4 targets in any game since week 6, and he only had 4 targets once. You're looking at basically 2 or 3 targets a game. He's going to have to catch probably, the majority of them when you only get a couple to get over this number. So it's a fringe play. Obviously, for showdown, he's going to be relevant. For props, I think I would go under on a guy like Guyton tonight.
Yeah, we love that, by the way. Added Kelsey anytime TD to our same game parlay from Dan. Now, I feel like we've had 6 or 7. Which same game parlay is that? So then I can create it. And oh, by the way, we did that last week. We took a bunch of plays out here from the chat. We're not going to do this live on the show, but all of your plays that you give us that Ben likes, that we like, we're going to add into the public parlay of the day, and we'll post that. So we appreciate you. We're not only just taking these and talking about them, we're actually putting them in there. I think, unfortunately for Dan, the Cavs first quarter was the one that did not hit. But look, them's the breaks in this game here, where we at least had a lot. But anytime Kelsey TD, boy, I don't know about Jason Kelsey, man. I just don't know what to make of him. Like Tyreek Hill, I feel like there's far less volatility. Kelsey's a tough bet.
Travis Kelsey's a guy, we know that he obviously is a matchup nightmare, regardless if they throw Derwin or whatnot. His targets have been a little pedestrian lately, but so is the offense in a lot. I wouldn't be stunned. I like Tyreek more. I do want to say that. I think Tyreek is more live to have a huge game, but we can't discount Travis Kelsey. He's a red zone threat. He's still having a fine year. It's just not up to the Travis Kelsey of old. He's had 4, 8, and 8 targets over the last 3 weeks. That's not enough for a guy this good. 20 targets in 3 weeks is actually pretty uninspiring from Kelsey, but you got to also understand they led those games basically from start to finish. This could be more of a back and forth. This could be more of a high scoring affair.
Yeah, man. You start to add in all of the regulars in there. Mike Williams is one more guy that I wanted to just throw out real quick. And, a 62% X-win chance on Odd Shopper. And it's more just the gap. I mean, Alex has Williams projected for 70 flat yards, Ben. The total on the books, 54 and a half, 55 and a half. It's moving, but still, I mean, you're talking about 15 and a half yardage gap right there between projection and not. With Eckler back, I don't know if people just are fading Williams or the volatility that's hurt a lot of people I know in season long, but that seems like a pretty workable gap right there to go over Williams at 54, 55 and a half.
I mean, it's a good number. I would lean over if I had to bet it, but I'll say this. I think that there's better things to do with Mike Williams in the sense that when he goes over a number like that, he clears it by like 50 yards. He's the type of guy that I think you'd be better off using a slider on and going like over 100 yards receiving for plus money, multiple touchdown game. He's done that several times this year. This is the type of guy, to me, it's a very boom bust, type player. He's had games where he's had 11 yards receiving, 19 yards receiving, 33 yards receiving. Then he's got a $110, a $165, a $122, 91, 97. So there's just not that many middling games for Mike Williams. And I think for showdown and for betting, you're going to want to maybe risk reward, kind of shove your chips in or just fade him. I don't know if trying to get a one-to-one return is the best move. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you wanted to throw in, and I'm just going to throw this out here because I've built it as we're doing this, but if you wanted to take one of Shelton's 7-point same game parlay teaser and take the Chargers at plus 10.5. We've moved them now through 2 key numbers at home, by the way, against the Chiefs. I've gone over 28.5 Chiefs total points from you, which is you were giving 27.5. It didn't do it much, so I bumped it to 28.5. look, I think we're splitting hairs at that point anyway, right? I understand that hook is deadly on a key number of 28, but I think the general consensus for you and I and a lot of people is it's not going to be a sweat. It's either going to be 20 or 22 points, or they're going to be in the low 30s, maybe even mid 30s, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Chiefs, again, they've shown that their offense, when it gets going, first of all, they score, they primarily score touchdowns in the red zone, which is very, very lucrative. I think they could easily eclipse 30, 35 points tonight. So I get it. I get it. Just,
well,
again,
there's one more, though.
One more.
One more. If I can just slide this in here. Mike Williams over 69.5 receiving yards. Now, we've taken the Chargers. We've moved them to plus 10.5. We've taken the Chiefs total and gone over the 28.5. And we've played what Ben said, which is it's no real return at 1-to-1. Take a risk here with Mike Williams and bump it up to 69.5. That's plus 600 of a return. It's not terrible.
Yeah. See, again, this is where the odds are really important. I think that's a low probability bet, but you're getting 6-1. That is different than some of the things we talked about earlier, where it's like Mike Williams to score and the Chiefs to win, and you're getting like plus 230. To me, that's not even close to value. Here, I think you have a real argument. Okay, you're increasing your variance, you're increasing your risk profile. You don't have to get this bet right that much to be positive when you're talking about a 6-1 return. So I get it. I think Mike Williams anytime TD is more than reasonable. As Chad pointed out, it's not crazy to do some of the things with him. What is Travis Kelce's reception line? Let's see. It is 5.5, but it's juiced to the over. I think that's probably unbettable. It feels about right to me.
Yeah, I mean, we have under 5.5 as a 64% X-win percentage, but this is one of those where the projection for receptions is just under 6 because of the volatility. You're betting against volatility here, and you're not using the volatility in your favor.
Yeah, it's a pass for me. I mean, you're going to find some 6.5s as you see it there. I see 5.5 with a massive juice to the over. That's where it seems where it should be. I see no value on Travis Kelce tonight in the prop world. I'd rather go to Tyreek or one of the Chargers pass catchers to try to get something.
Last one on the player props for me, and that's the quarterbacks. I think it's easy if you're looking at the total to get caught up and wrapped up in passing touchdowns. I wouldn't. I think the best place to attack the quarterbacks, Ben, and both, and an odd shopper is reflecting this with a 61 and 60 X-win percentage respectively for Mahomes and then Herbert. I think you attack the overs for the passing yardage. I actually think this might be an opportunity to build even a 2-leg same game parlay where you're specifically targeting Herbert and Mahomes passing yardage, because far less volatility when you have Allen, Williams, Eckler, Kelce, right? Hill, even Clyde Edwards-Helaire, like guys you can throw, Pringle, Hardman. It's far less to get big gains as opposed to when things tighten up in the red zone and have to actually rely on the points. So I think that if I can close on this point, I think Mahomes and Herbert, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to get to that point. I had to talk myself through it. Mahomes and Herbert, this is more of a standalone. Like, we're not relying on the total to go over in order for these guys to hit 300 passing yards. I think that can coexist, if you will. It's not ideal because you want to build everything together, but I think it adds more value to going over the passing yards for both.
I mean, I have no problem if you have a line on one of these overs for the passing yards. These are two, prolific passing attacks. I don't think either run game is going to have a ton of success. A, because I don't think the Chargers are going to run effectively, and B, the Chiefs, I think, will run effectively, but volume will be the issue. Chad Steven talking about, D. Williams rushing. If he gets more than 2 or 3 carries, I like it. I just don't know if he will, honestly, with Edwards-Helaire. I also think that in a game like this, we've seen this time and time again throughout the league, and I want to bring it up before we kind of move on. And I said it with Josh Allen in some of these games. I'm going to say it with Mahomes. These quarterbacks, when it's a huge game like this, this is where they run. They're very selective because they know how important they are. Patrick Mahomes' rushing yards prop is 17.5 tonight. I like the over. I think this is the type of game. He had 45 yards rushing against the Chargers the first time, but more importantly than that, this is the type of game, if he needs to run, he will run. And you saw Josh Allen in a pseudo must win against Tampa. He had 100+ yards rushing. Why? Because he had to run, and that was a huge game. This is a big one. I wouldn't be stunned to see Mahomes have 5 to 10 rushing attempts and crush this number.
That's a great point. We've kind of moved away from the quarterback rushing, especially on the primetime games, because I feel the bigger markets, they're going to be a little sharper there. Rushing yards from Mahomes at 17.5. It's not terrible at all. Herbert at 16.5, a little dicier, but I look, Mahomes at 17.5. I'm with you. I wouldn't be shocked, and I don't think you would either, right? I wouldn't be shocked if he clears that in the first half.
I mean, again, I think it's just about want or need. He's going to view this just against like Buffalo, week 5, one of the bigger games for the Chiefs. He had 8 for 61. And to me, the 8 is the number that stands out. He could do that against the Raiders. He had 0 yards rushing. Why? Because they won 41-14. They just didn't need him to do that. And I'm not saying it's a one size fits all. It's every time. But I do think in games like this, Patrick Mahomes will be much more apt to say, you know what, I'm going to put myself in a little harm's way because we have to have these rushes. We have to have these games. You only need 2 or 3 of those to clear a prop like this. It's worth considering in a game like this with the stakes this high that he will go over 17.5.
Yeah, I was just looking real quick at Williams and the receptions, the targets there to see if there's any way to factor Williams into the passing game like we did with Edwards-Helaire. Back-to-back games of 3 targets, 3 grabs, 30-plus yards in each of them. Really, if you look at the last 4 games, the outlier is, and he still had 3 targets, the outlier is that 11-yard game that he had. But before that, again, now, granted, 2 of these games are against Vegas where it looks like the Chiefs will do whatever the hell they want. But maybe that's a smaller market where it's not as sharp, 18.5 receiving yards for Williams. Maybe instead, and I love the play from blitz. I just get the volatility of the carries. That's why I don't know if you have it as much, at least with consistent targets to Williams, especially because you and I both like the fact this game goes over due to passing and less running.
Again, it's just hard to know what the Chiefs are going to do because we haven't seen a ton of Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Williams coexist. Like some of those big games, one of them was hurt. And, tonight that's not going to be the case. So to me, I mean, if you want it on your card, more power to you. I have a pretty good amount of props that I like tonight, and I like the Chiefs in the game and some of those. So I don't really need it, not trying to force it. But again, I think it's just the Chiefs and how they chameleon their offense that makes it difficult.
All right. So one of the great things we have available here on Odd Shopper is the parlay builder. You have the sorting tool is insane. Every page has its own tool in which you can sort through everything. So if you know exactly what you want, you can get that. And if you want to just browse and go through the site and all the different options, you're able to do that as well. I'm in PA, so I always sort PA. I like to go all leagues because you have NFL, NBA. You can choose specifically if you want for just the NFL, let's say. And you have the 4 different options, right? The 10X, the prop party, the chalk eater, which is going to be heavy favorites, and then the dog days, which is going to be a 4 or 5 crew of underdogs. And I sent you the text last night, played all 4 of them last night. The one that had the closest chance of hitting 4 of 5 legs hitting was the dog day parlay. So yeah, look, we know what we're doing up here. You're not going to hit parlays all the time. They're not a sustainable way of living by any means, but you want to make sure that you're getting the great return, yes, but you also want to make sure that you're playing the right legs as well. And I feel like I definitely have that confidence with the parlay builder.
No doubt. And the other part of it, it's just so much fun. Like you can build a card, and I do this all the time. I build my card, and then I say, you know what? I love this card. There's also a guilty pleasure bet that I want to throw on there. I'm going to do a 5-teamer, small amount just for the hell of it, just to sweat it out. And some of these parlays are just that. We've created the value, no doubt about it, with the projections, but it's also a lot of fun to sweat out, a 10X return parlay, and you're cross sports, and you can do, big time dogs, chalk eater, where you're getting money line favorites. It's just really fun to play around with, totally customizable, totally free. So again, we give you the tools. You decide, are you trying to grind out a small profit? Go for the home run, just like DFS. Some people prefer the milli, try to win $1 million off $10. Other people like double ups, where you're taking $10, trying to turn it into $20 more consistently. We have all that for you. We leave it up to you to kind of command how you want to build your own portfolio.
Now, I thought Eric Lindquist had chalk eater trademarked.
Well, he does get some royalties from the prop. I'm not going to lie. He's okay. This was his doing, I'm sure, but we're going to add different parlay types. There's definitely going to be.
Yeah, I'm waiting. I'm over here just waiting, Ben. So.
Yeah, there it is. I mean, you know what? It's in the works, my man. We're busy here. We got bowl season, NFL playoffs, hoops, college. Wait till March Madness. We're gonna have some absurd
Cannot
things
wait.
for college basketball, but this has been really fun to develop. We want you guys to try it out again. Totally free, oddchopper.com. If you're enjoying it too and you're new to the channel, welcome. As I've said, we got a lot of new people rolling in. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. You know, Eitan and me have been doing videos breaking down these tools. They're available on the site within Awesemo Odds. So again, Parlay Builder is a lot of fun for same game parlays and also for like a Sunday slate where you've got about 20 teams to choose from.
How about Mike? I like it. You know, here I was going to go with the Shander Tower, but Spags isn't even here anymore, so we can't use stuff that was coined by people. The Shander slider. How about that?
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm sure I'll have to do something with a doctor, considering I've been labeled a doctor around here.
Well, that's also by a guy who's same guy, right?
Yeah. Again, this guy, yeah, he brands us, then he leaves.
He's out.
No respect.
He comes to PA. I don't even get his Slack message. I mean, what is that?
Tisk. But no, it's a great time for those things. And I also know bowl season is right around the corner. It starts tomorrow.
Yep.
We had a lot of questions on that. Me and Matt Gajeski broke down every single bowl game rapid fire style in an hour, and it's on this channel. Totally free. Every pick against spread. We're going to go more in depth on Betting You, which is our podcast. You can listen to that if you want the full breakdowns. But if you are in a bowl pool or you just want to gamble on some of these bowls, me and Matt on this already did a full show, and it's available.
So I got you on my iHeart show here in Philadelphia, you and Matt, to do the same exact thing. What you didn't know was that I was filling out my station bowl pick'em as I was interviewing both of you throughout there. So if anybody is out there in, as Ben mentioned, a pick'em, what have you, you're going to get all the games right there. And even the disagreements between the two of you that I heard from all the platforms in which you're doing this, there was definitely a reasonable play. It wasn't like, no, I'm not going to do this. You guys were on polar opposites. It felt like there might be a lean here, but you were much more confident on the other side.
Yeah. I mean, again, I know with that, there's opportunities for all types of bets. And,
yep,
you know, it's just, that's what makes it so fun. I can't recommend it. Even if you just go and check it out and see what parts you like. We've got ARB calculators, parlay builders, and then just the projections from Alex and the team. And I know with so many sports, it saves me a ton of time. And the last thing I'll say, obviously, COVID is wreaking havoc on these leagues. These things are going to be updating in real time. So again, sometimes you want to wait and see. Keep that in mind with the props. Obviously, the late breaking news is going to affect these things. But, you know, the lines will move and we'll try to find the angles as the cards were dealt.
All right, my friend, we have a ton up here to go through to lock it up before we get to you, me, and then you on the way out of here. Let's see. The Pats, Cowboys, Packers 7-point teaser. Yes, is still in play. Love that. I'm locked into that from the jump. I'm not worried about the toe or anything with Rodgers. So we'll keep that moving right there. I do have to give out because he sent it to me ahead of time, knowing he couldn't make the show live here. So let me give you Berger's same game donkey parlay tonight. And reminder, Ben, and the chat out there, he's hit his last two. So we're going to tail until he's no longer the. That's right. Chargers plus 5.5 alternate spread. Austin Eckler, anytime touchdown scorer, over 47.5 total points, 2+ Justin Herbert passing touchdowns. The return is not great, but I love this dude's role right now. And who am I to fade Berger at plus 255?
I love Berger, great friend of the show, good guy, sharp guy. I don't like that bet. Again, I don't like messing around with totals. You lose a lot of value there. You need a lot of things to go right, and you're only getting 2.5 to 1. So again, guys on the heater, I get the story he told that makes sense with the Herbert and Eckler and the over. I just don't like the sliders there. You lose a lot of value sometimes when you do that. Shelton's
locking up the Hilltoppers plus 3 on Saturday. Yeah.
I think the Hilltoppers, Western Kentucky is gonna handle them pretty well. Brady Zappi and co will be ready to play. Really prolific passing attack for Western Kentucky. I like that spread a lot. I don't think they should be underdog.
Dan has added the Kelsey anytime TD to the same game parlay, and I think that maybe that with Pringle under receptions that Bloomfield has, those two plays. Any interest?
You know, indifferent, to be honest, but anytime you're adding Travis Kelsey to a bet, in particular when it's Travis Kelsey to do something good, it's not a hard explanation of why you're doing that. He's one of, if not the best tight end in the league. So I get it. And you know, I haven't done that. I'm not going to, but I'm not adamantly opposed to it either.
Jeff Wilson on there. Some kind words for you as well. Mike Williams, anytime touchdown for Jeff. And then we saw Blitz. She likes Williams rushing over 14.5. We talked about Williams a little bit at length there. D Williams, but you know, the Mike Williams anytime TD is not a bad return just in general.
No, not at all. I think, you know, Keenan Allen obviously is more of a possession receiver. Mike Williams is more of that downfield threat. Guy's a playmaker. He's a serious red zone threat. Herbert, the thing I like about Herbert, he gives these guys chances. He's willing to throw an interception for a potential touchdown. Mike Williams is a great contested catch type guy. I have no problem with going to Mike Williams to find the end zone tonight.
All right, so I'm going to go off the beaten path here only because I saw somebody on the chat open up this door, and who am I to tell you to close it by any means? I don't know if you can work a same game parlay in here, but Shelton loves the over 5.5 goals tonight for the Canadians and Flyers. I would say this. You can get plus money right now. I think it's like plus 170. You can get back in that range for the Flyers to win the first half on the first intermission on the puck line -0.5, right? So you're laying 0.5 point on the puck line first period. The Flyers do the majority of damage in the first period, especially when they're on the road. And oh, by the way, Ben Rasa, no Carey Price. The Canadians are pretty much dealing with a mess right now as far as not having bodies. And most importantly, all-world goalie Carey Price is not going to be between the pipes. Over 5.5. I love that play. I'd also take it with, and this is mine, and I'm going to tell you to lock this up if you can find it, which I know you can because I already played it. -0.5 a puck on the puck line first period for the Philadelphia Flyers. This is what they do. They were terrible. They were dog shit. I get it. But they score on the road in the first period, and they don't have Carey Price in front of them. Plus 170, 180 on a return like that. Lock it up.
The day I give out a hockey pick on the show is the day you should all unsubscribe, and that day won't be today. I know nothing about hockey.
Let me just say this real quick. In all true transparency, we have a guy here in Philadelphia who does, Jason Martinez is his name. He does a lot of Flyers stuff. He's like the Flyers radio network. I used to work with him. He's the guy that put me on the radio like 20 years ago. So I just had a real in-depth interview on my local radio show with him last night. So I totally pinched that. Now I gave him that play based off his analysis, but I totally pinched that. I'm not trying to come out like I'm some hockey analyst here. All right.
Hey, if it wins, it wins. I'm all for trying to create value, but I'm going to stick to my lock it up. You guys have heard it. I think the Chiefs win tonight and cover that spread. I'll lay the 3. I'll keep it very generic. We hit the Rams on Monday at a nice price there. I'm just going to keep it simple. Let's just cash another ticket here with the Chiefs.
Dan on the end here. A lot of moving parts. Teams on back-to-backs. Both teams awful lately in the first quarter. If Wood is out, Knicks first quarter spread looks good. Woo! Okay, now we have the Knicks first quarter spread. We've got the Flyers first period. We've got the Chiefs -3.
Busy
We're building
night,
something
apparently.
here. I love it. All right, let's get out of here. On your way out, hit that thumbs up button, please. If you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed. Ben will tell you right before we get out of here, but we have a ton of new shit that's popping up each and every second, it feels like, on the Odds channel. So you want to be subscribed to what we're doing.
No doubt about it. Just a ton of fun here at Awesemo Odds. Like I said, we have shows like this, very interactive, a lot of tutorials, a lot of short form VODs. If you're on the go, let us know in the comments. If there's something that you guys say, man, I wish you had a show on this, drop it in the comments. We read those and we certainly want your feedback. So for me, for Atom, for our man, Mike behind the glass, good luck tonight in all your ventures from hoops to the ice to the gridiron. Let's cash some tickets and we'll be back here Monday talking more NFL from Awesemo Odds. Good luck tonight.
See ya.